Thank you for joining me once again for another segment of CD Tate's Relationship Podcast. As I stated in part one on last week, this will be a three-part series. So please be sure to tune back in next week for part three of getting a clue to basically just to learning and understanding. You understand as you get into a relationship, even if you're in a relationship or especially in a new one. Hopefully your day has been off to an awesome and great start, as always, mainly because you're a part of it and you are in it. Your day could not be awesome or great without you. How could it be if you're not in it? So that's the most important part. Always remember to take note of yourself and remember how important you are even in your day, throughout your day. You're going to have distractions. You're going to have things that come about and things that may weigh you down. That's okay. We can move through that. No differently than me, setting up even for this podcast, and you want to get everything just right, and you just want to get it perfect. That's what we want to do. And I thought about it, if I spend so much time trying to get things in a particular setting, I question whether or not I would even get started. No different than starting this YouTube channel and, starting the podcast. The question is, when would I get started? I can't, you can't stay long in the point of putting something off. I believe that if you procrastinate, if you put something off long enough, you have a tendency to start forgetting. If you forget about something, you have a tendency to miss an opportunity. And once you miss an opportunity, you may have the ability to create another one, but it may not be as good as the one that you have missed. So in all things, we have to be able to get started, get going. And I just want to say I thank you all for joining me once again. And wherever you may be listening from, whatever continent, what country, once again, I thank you. So as we continue with getting a clue, in short, just an acronym for knowing, learning, and understanding. That's what you want to do. You want to take the time that before you get so deep in with someone, especially if it's new. If it's old, that's fine. You can still work through it. But you do want to get to know the person. You want to get an opportunity to learn the person, as well as getting to understand them. Three important things to me may not be important to you, but hopefully you'll listen to this and maybe you can pick out at least one thing that may be beneficial to you in your relationship. But before we get started, there's one thing I always love to do. I never want to get away from it. And as you go in life, it may be a tool that you can use. And this tool is simply taking a breath, in which that breath for me is first breath. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale slowly. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So hopefully that allows you to feel a little bit more grounded and rooted now. And it just gives you that opportunity to take a breath before you get started and you tackle something. And, the cool thing is it doesn't take long. It's not like you got to sit an hour. No, you just take a few seconds to remind yourself that you are, working through this situation. And that's what we're about to do as we work about this conversation, this information that I'm going to provide to you, simply about knowing, learning, and understanding. Now, of course, this is only going to be the portion of learning, in which last week was the knowing. This week will be the learning. And of course, we follow that up with understanding. And what is this knowing, learning, and understanding about? It's about the individual, your significant other, the person that you're dating. It could be, more importantly, be the one that you are courting, someone that you're looking for in a wholesome, lifelong relationship. Always the hopeful expectation. All right. As I continue though, imagine if you were in a room with 5 people and 4 out of the 5 people had been in relationships. Of course, that would mean that one of the people have not been in a relationship. And they're all adults. The ages range, varies from anywhere from 20 years to 30 years or so. And they each have experiences of their own. Now, some directly and some indirectly. Of course, that would really just be the one because the other four have been in relationships. The question is, could any of what's being shared by the four or the five other people you understand, is anything that is shared by them, could it be something that you could use in life? Or, as a matter of fact, you can't be so short just to write people off because you never know. They may actually have exactly what you need. So we have to take the time to listen and hear people out. It really doesn't always matter where they come from. Again, you never know what they bring to the table and what they present to you. Now, I guess the question is always, where do I get started? I think we touched on this last week, but just a small recap. Hopefully you've met someone at this point, that is equally interested in you, genuinely, just like you may be interested in them. And that's where you go. You start right there. That's where you do it. And we want to get into the learning aspect. So let's talk about it. I'm not going to try to give you the textbook dictionary or, the definition of what learning is. We're just going to talk about learning. And in a sense, when it comes to relationship, I said, to me, this is the shared access to each other's information. That means you're getting to know the person, but you're learning things about them, quite possibly that no one else may know, that others may not have access to when it comes to them sharing that information of themselves with you. It's the sharing of, life as they see it. It's the sharing of thoughts. It's the sharing of dreams and goals, ensuring that both people are hopefully on the same path, and that, you guys can travel this together and solidify your growth with one another. And beliefs, just something else to add to it. So sharing as you go, that's kind of what you're doing. You're listening to, what more can be added to you from this individual. How do you, in a sense, solidify each other? I made the phrase or the comment, about what do you bring to the table? Sometimes you have to understand what that table is for you when it comes to learning someone or them learning you. Now, another thing to consider is, in this whole process of learning, is you're not only learning someone or them just learning you. You have to realize that as you go, you will learn things even about yourself. That's kind of funny how communication works, especially when it's, shared between two people. For instance, let's just call it simple communication, talking to one another and not talking at each other. Now, some people may not know the difference between talking to one another and talking at each other. Let me see if I can kind of clarify that a little. When I'm talking to someone, they understand that what I'm making reference to, you understand, it may, in a sense, include them or not. But when you're talking at someone, they don't necessarily know that it does include them or not. They just know that you're talking. So that is a difference in communication, I would say there. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but hopefully I'm somewhere on track, or at least you can understand exactly what I'm trying to relay to you in this communication. In a sense, it's reciprocation. That's what the communication part is. It's two people sharing. As I stated in the learning, it is sharing of information, one another's information. We don't need to talk about anybody else unless we're sharing about those people that are close to us, that matter in life, that you may be introducing this person to, or that they may be introducing you to. Now, as we continue, note that sometimes the other person may not answer your questions. I'll be honest, I would have to say that should draw another question. And a few of the questions should be somewhere along the lines of, is someone hiding something? There's always that possibility. Are they even ready to be in a relationship? Another possibility. Do they choose just not to share with you? And if they choose not to share with you, that should draw you to question, what it is about you, if the person can't trust you, if they don't trust you. I'll be honest, it would be very difficult for me to make the attempt of going into any relationship without trust. That is one of the biggest components I feel that is also necessary in a relationship, is that trust. And if you don't have that, how can you effectively communicate? How can you effectively, function together or even operate without that trust? As we continue, observing your experience with that person, you pay attention to, people's body languages, how they respond to you, how they act with you. Most importantly, how they make you feel along the way, how they treat you. So it's not just the feeling, but it's actually how they treat you as well. Understand, you take as much as this and you have this and you put it together, and that's what you worked with. Because again, this is you, this is your life, and if that is not there, that's something questionable. I will share this portion with you. For me personally, I feel that it's a man's responsibility to provide an environment for which a woman is able to function in and feel comfortable in, being able to operate with you. If you cannot provide that to her, I can only speak from my point of view as a man, then are you really the person? That would draw some alarm to me. And just in finishing up here, when it is all said and done, you've taken the time to communicate with this person. You take the time to learn them, because that is what's more important, is that you get to learn this person. And hopefully that they are learning you equally as well. And one of the ways you get to know that is in conversation, because there are things that you will converse about that this person may remember. And there are things, and let me say this, that they should remember because they're important to you. But there are things that they will not remember. Everyone does not have that great a memory, and that's okay. The most important thing is, what do they remember? And how does it make you feel in that conversation with them? All right. And as you summarize it all and you bring it to a whole, you've taken the time to get to know the person. You've taken some time to get to learn the person. You have to make a conscious decision. And this is where, as we discussed on last week, the red flags, the blue flags, and things of that nature, whether this is something you understand that you can continue with this person or not. You have to be honest, not only with the person, but you have to be honest with yourself. One of the most hurtful things I think we can do sometimes is to make an attempt to continue something that we already know that is not going to work for us, and we make an attempt to make it work anyway. Be honest with you as well as you can be honest with the other person. Don't waste your time, but please don't waste theirs either. Now, I guess at this point, I find myself at the end of another podcast and hope that it in some way is fulfilling or helpful to you. However, remember, as we close out, this is the month of November. Men, if you have not scheduled an appointment, please go schedule an appointment. Get checked out to ensure your longevity wherever you can in life, as long as you can in life. Is it guaranteed? No. But at least you made the effort to do something as opposed to doing nothing at all. So until next time, before I say bye-bye, I just want to say thank each and every one of you for being here with me, listening in, or if you're watching the YouTube as well, that's the newest addition to what I do along with the podcast. I thank you. I appreciate you as always. And please don't forget to share with someone. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Until next time, that is my time. Bye-bye.